effort, which is what hatha means. But this is our yin. Yin is a relatively new branch of yoga, and it deals a lot with certain meridians of energy channels. And basically, if you've never done a yin class, I'm just going to explain what you can expect. So this will not be a fully traditional yin, because I know some of you may be just joining and getting used to this, and so we won't go into all the possible meridians and everything, but we will touch upon some of those. But mostly in a yin class, and by the way, I'm Robert. Nice to meet you if I haven't met you, and welcome back if I have. So in our yin class, we look to go a little bit further into the stretch. Now what that means is that we might stay in a stretch for 3 to 5, and sometimes even longer minutes, that is. Now what does that mean? So in a hatha class or a vinyasa class, we may do 1 breath, 1 motion, or we might stay in a posture for 5 breaths, for example. But here we're looking at a much different approach. This is not about 5 breaths, but it might be 3 to 5 minutes. So in other words, instead of 1 motion, 1 breath, we have 1 asana or 1 posture for many breaths. Many. Right? You may see these props. If you're starting to panic, don't worry. If you don't have props, it's not a problem. This is just because some of you might happen to have them. So I'll give you options with or without the props. So if you start to panic about that, don't panic. Okay, so back to what the yin is. So it's a little bit longer into the posture. And then what does that mean exactly? Well, when you're in a swiftly moving vinyasa class, then you might not really feel the posture 100% for too long. Now maybe just for a breath, or 5 breaths, or maybe 10. But in the yin, we're going to feel that stretch and that posture for quite a while. At a certain point though, it switches from the physical to right up here. And so you might walk into a yin class and go, okay, well, nothing's going on. Except for those people doing the yin class. Because at that point, their body may look like it is settled in, but that's when the trick comes in about the mind going here and there and everywhere. So I'm going to give you a few tools or methods. Upaya. Upaya is a method of how to maybe help calm that down a bit. Because ultimately yoga, one of the first definitions of yoga we get is yogas chitti vritti nirodha, which means from the Sanskrit, from the Yoga Sutras, calming the turning and the agitation and the fluctuation of the mind. And we see that more with the yin than we do with some of the other styles. So we will be focusing on bringing that down a bit. All right? So, having said that, if you need to fidget a little bit in a posture, that is fine. Now, some people say you have to stay perfectly still once you're in a yin posture. If your body's asking you to move, you need to move. So you need to adjust. But at a certain point, we want to try to find that peace in the posture, that calm in the asana, where we do sort of settle in and maybe don't move around so much. All right? Good. Let's go ahead and come up into a seated position here. This is Siddhasana. Some of you may be familiar with this. You can also sit in Sukhasana. You can sit up on a pillow if you would like. But we're just going to begin with a very soft breathing. We're going to bring the breath down into the belly. We're going to keep the breath down into the belly. And in the more dynamic classes, we want to engage and energize that breath. In yin, we want to keep it nice and low. So let's go ahead and just place the hands onto the belly, sit up nice and tall, and bring the chin down into the chest. This creates space in the back of the neck. Release the lower jaw. And we're going to breathe through the mouth and the nose at the same time. So you don't feel any difference between the mouth and the nose. So just exhale. So it's kind of like you're fogging a window a little bit. And then through the mouth and nose. And then exhaling again through the mouth and nose. And exhaling again. Good. Then let's take the hands down onto the knees. Pull the shoulders back and bring the chin down into the chest. We're going to exhale fully into the belly. So exhale, exhale, exhale. Inhale into the belly. And exhale, press the belly down as you exhale, exhale, exhale. Inhale, belly. And exhaling down. So keep the breath very low into the belly. And exhaling down. Good. Now let's bring the chin really tightly into the chest. And we're going to go over to the left. On the inhale, I'm going to slowly bring the head around, up towards the ceiling, and then exhaling over to the right, and then I bring the chin back into the center, and I pause here. Exhaling fully into the belly. On the inhale, let's go to the right. And you don't really have to look up to the ceiling, just look forward and then over and down to the left. And then the chin comes down into the chest, and here we are. Exhale fully. On the inhale, let's go over to the left, inhaling up. And slowly exhaling over to the right and bring the chin down, and we pause here. One more time over to the right. Exhaling down, inhaling up and around. And exhaling on the second part of the cycle, we come down and chin into the chest and exhaling down. Then we're going to just slowly rock through the spine. So I'm going to inhale, and on the exhale, I'm going to lean back, and the knees come up a bit, the chin comes into the chest, slow motion. And then inhaling forward and up, and exhaling back. Inhaling forward and up. And exhaling, tilting hips back. Good. Alright, then we're going to come forward. Now, if you have a bolster or a pillow, you can take the pillow or bolster here. Then we're going to take our hands back behind us, fingertips down, and I'm going to push myself forward but keep the hips down. So I'm pushing down on the fingertips back behind me, and I'm looking down about a meter or so in front of my ankles. Keep pressing. Then I'm going to drop the chin and keep pressing forward. Then exhale fully. Inhale, lift up. And then I'm going to exhale and bring the arms around. Now, if you have something to rest the arms, you can be here. This is option one. You can bring the head down. Final option is to fold the hands back over the head. Okay, if you do not have the pillow or bolster, you can be here, here, or here. Alright, so this is our first longer posture, so stay where you are. So I'm just going to talk for a moment, so don't pop up. Just listen. So we start to settle into the hips. So we want to have the hips very heavy going towards the floor. So the primary stretch is in the hips, not in the shoulders. So especially if you have the arms folded back, it's secondary into the shoulders and into the hands and into the arms. Primary stretch is in the hips. Now you're going to feel it more on one side than the other. So you might feel it on this side a little bit more. We start to notice those details in our yin practice. So as we start to go into these stretches longer, we start to notice the differences between the right and the left. Now that's not to judge them or critique them or say, ooh, this is my bad side. Because if we say this is our bad side, and we keep repeating that, it only becomes worse. So instead, what I like to offer here is when we find the side that might be a little bit more, and we say this is a side that needs a little more attention, a little bit more care, a little bit more time. Big difference in saying this is my bad side. It just needs a little more attention. All right. So exhaling fully exhale. Inhale, lift up. And then we're going to extend the arms a little further. And then exhale through the mouth. And then release. Maybe fold the arms back. Or you can be here. Or you can be here. All right. But we want to feel the stretch on the outside of the hip. Next thing we want to check in is make sure the lower jaw is relaxed. So you can take the lower jaw from side to side and slowly swing the head from side to side. Relaxing the eyes, relaxing the lower jaw. About 3 to 5 more breaths wherever you are. So again, we're breathing into the belly, so we keep that breath in the belly. Exhaling fully, we're going to slowly walk ourselves out. Take your time. So in our yin practice, coming out of the posture is extremely important because we've been in it for a while. We may not notice how deeply into the posture we've gone. So we take it very slowly. Okay. Let's switch the legs, whichever side you are on. Sitting up nice and tall, we're going to take our hands to our knees again, and then again, exhaling slow motion. It's like you're sinking into this very safe liquid space, liquid air. And then inhaling forward and up. And exhaling, pulling the belly in and releasing back. The knees start to come up. And then inhaling forward and up. Good. Once again, take the hands back, and I'm going to push myself forward. So this is how I begin. So I push back through those fingertips, keep the hips grounded. Now guess what? I'm going to feel it on the other side here. That's the whole point. We always want to make sure we balance it out. Exhale, drop the chin into the chest, keep pressing away. Hips are grounded. Exhale fully. Inhale, lift up. With or without the bolster or pillow, I'm going to bring the arms around, elbows here, palms together, and drop the head. This is an option. This is an option. Final option is down here with the hands folded back. But again, so we do not compromise our shoulders, our hips for our shoulders. So we don't go too far in the shoulders and take it out of the hips. So we want to keep the stretch in the hips. So stay where you are. I'm just going to talk for a moment again. And I'm going to give you one of those upaya, one of those tools or methods on how to keep it out of the head. Now, one of the ways is I just keep talking and it sort of distracts you. You may be like, shut up, Robert. No, I'm going to talk you through this so that we learn how to get out of that head space into these postures. Now, the easiest way is through the breath. So, here is method 1. Exhale fully and just tell yourself, now I'm inhaling, and you inhale. Now I'm exhaling, and I exhale. Now I inhale, and now I exhale. Now I inhale, and now I exhale. Now that's a bit of a meditation to get you out of the vritti, the churnings of the mind, the agitations. So that's one way to stay in the posture and out of the mind. Okay, then exhaling fully, I'm going to inhale, lift up, pull the belly in, and then exhaling, extend a little bit further through the mouth, and then release down. Once again, you can be here, or down here. Main thing is we keep the stretch in the hips. So about another 3 to 5 breaths here. Relax the lower jaw, relax the eyes, keep the breath in the belly. I'm going to keep reminding you of a few of these things. It's very easy to get sidetracked or distracted. And yoga addresses that distraction through the breath. So exhaling fully, and we're going to slowly, ever so slowly come up. Take the hands onto the knees, and then I'm going to extend one leg at a time, and then shake out the feet. And then you can roll through the feet a little bit, and then both directions. Okay, then next posture. So the suggestion is if you have anything like a pillow or a cushion or a bolster, we're going into what's called caterpillar. Caterpillar is the yin variation of Paschimottanasana. So if you're familiar with the forward fold in Hatha Yoga, it's Paschimottanasana. This is the caterpillar, that's the yin variation. All right. So it's going to be a forward fold, but we have the feet out wide. Very wide, maybe even off your mat if you're on your mat. Let's take our hands next to us and then flex the feet first. We want to feel what that's like to flex the feet. So flex the feet first. Feeling that. That goes all the way up into the hips, right? You should feel that into the hips. Nice tall seat. And then I release the feet. Okay? So let's feel the difference between flexing and releasing. Okay? So let's flex the feet. This is strong. This is our hatha effort. And then we release the feet. This is how we're going to end up in our yin caterpillar. So flex all the way up into the hip and then release. Okay? We're going to flex to go into the posture, release when we go into it all the way. So we come up, we take the fingertips back behind us like we did before. Flex the feet. So I'm flexing the feet, toes are active, pressing myself forward, long in the spine. Keep pressing back, same way we came into the last one. Then we drop the chin, take the head from side to side, keep the feet flexed, exhaling fully, inhaling, lift. As I exhale, those feet relax, and I come to here. Maybe I have a bolster or a cushion, and I can be here. Some of you may be down here. Wherever you are, I'm not pulling like this, okay? I'm not going, I'm going to get there, I'm going to get there, I'm going to get there. This is our yin practice. We're not pulling. We're relaxing the feet, relaxing the hands, relaxing the head. Relax the shoulders and take the head from side to side. Okay, so we're going to be here a little while. And be stacking your hands like you're fine, as long as you're not holding the jaw tight. Relax the lower jaw, wherever you are. Relax the jaw, take the head from side to side. If you are down here, you're breathing through the belly. It's more compression, but you're still breathing through the belly. Pull the belly in to release a little bit more. Shoulders down and relax the feet. Feet are relaxed. Head from side to side. Keep breathing. Okay. Second method. So the first method was when I just said, okay, now I'm inhaling and I inhale and now I exhale and I exhale. Second method is to simply count the breath. So you can, for example, say, okay, we start with an exhale, exhale fully, and then inhale for 3,
2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 3, 2, 1. And exhale for 3, 2, 1. Now you can continue on like that for 3, or take it up to 4, or even 5. But just keep it nice and steady, and that's going to be like a metronome that keeps the breath even, and it keeps you in the posture without scattering the mind. Because physically, we can only be in this posture. At this moment, wherever you are, as you're watching this, the only place your physical body can be is right there. Right there in this posture. The mind, as we know, can be a million different places. So when we connect the mind with the breath, we bring that harmony from the mind and the body through the breath. That's our yoga. 3 to 5 more breaths here, wherever you're at. Some of you may want to exhale fully and lift up, and then through the mouth, release, release, release. Okay, we're going to slowly start to come out of this. Exhale fully, fingertips down. Start to walk ourselves back. If you have the bolster, you can just press it out for this second. Before we go back, we take the hands back here. Now watch what happens. I'm going to press down and lift my hips towards the heels and drop down onto the elbows, and then shake the feet from side to side. Okay? That's going to release the lower back and bring the belly down. Then you can kind of come up, and we're going to swing the legs slowly around and come up onto hands and knees. Okay, on the next one. Again, maybe you have a bolster, maybe you don't. I'll show with both. First, let's just do some very, very slow cat-cows to release the spine. So slowly tilt the hips, pull the head, shoulders through. Don't look up too far. Then through the hips, I tilt the hips, pull the belly in, round the back, chin to the chest. Inhaling forward and up, slowly lifting up. And exhaling down into my cat. Alright, let's go ahead and sit back onto the heels, and we're going to take the knees quite wide. Now we're going towards Balasana, child's pose. Bala is child, asana is the posture. Balasana. This is just going to help reset our hips a little bit, and then we're going to go into some further yin postures. Alright, so if you have a bolster or a pillow, we want to place it right here in the front. Let's release by coming up onto the fingertips, inhaling up, and then exhaling. Press the palms, lift the fingers, and round and back. Inhaling forward and up, and exhaling back. Now we keep this roundness, drop the elbows, spin the elbows out, and exhaling the head over to the side. So if you do not have the bolster or the pillow, you can be here. You can stack the hands like this. Some of you may want to go without the bolster, and you have the arms extended out like this. Alright, so we're going to stay in here a little bit longer than normal child's pose. So what does that mean? It starts to go further beyond the body and maybe up here. So this child's pose is a release in the hips. So see if you can be heavy in the back of the hips towards those heels. So if you don't feel that, you may want to come up a little bit further. If you come up onto the elbows, you can always take the head down and then rock the head from side to side and release that way. Remembering our two methods of breathing, you can choose one or the other. You can tell yourself, you can remind yourself that now I'm inhaling and now I'm exhaling. Or you can just count, inhaling 3, 2, 1, exhaling 3, 2, 1. Your choice. Alright. Head is over to one side, press the elbows down, and take it to the other. And you're going to notice that you have one side that you'd like to go to every time. It's the same side that if you're walking down the street and somebody calls your name and you look over your shoulder, it's going to be the same side. If you carry a purse or a bag, it's on the same shoulder. So we use these one sides over and over until we want to balance it out. Alright. About another 3 to 5 breaths here. Using the breath in the belly and releasing. Okay, 2 come out. So we've been here a while. You come up onto the elbows, and it's like you claw yourself forward onto the hands and then stretch the legs back one at a time. Take your time, press back to the heels. Pressing back. Okay. Then, if you have a bolster or a pillow, there are 2 options here for this. So if you don't, that's option 1. Then there's 2 more options. Pressure in the belly, any discomfort here, my suggestion is no bolster. If there's only mild or a little bit, then you take this lengthwise. If you really want to start releasing the belly and the lower back, we take it widthwise. Now, of course, you can always change this if you made the wrong decision and you realize, oops, that's not where I should be. All right, so I'm going to show you all 3. First, we come up on the hands and knees. So for those of you without any support, we're just going to lower ourselves down onto the belly, and we come into what we call Muck, Crocodile. And we take the right hand over the left, and we draw the head down. Most important, the heels are going out. So this is heels in, this is heels out. And then I relax the forehead down. The other 2 options, same posture, either like this or like this. We come down onto the belly on this one, and then we bring the head down. Now, if you got here and you're like, oh, no, not today, then you come back up this way. You press down, lift up, and you can take the bolster away. All right? So, Muckrasana, Crocodile, we're going to be here for a little while, so we're going to build into this. Heels are out to the side. Make sure that the lower jaw, you're not clenching the teeth, and you're resting the forehead down. The challenge here, if you have the bolster like I do, is going to be into the belly. Now, this feels like it's all about the belly, but it's actually releasing for the lower back. So one of the things we do in our yoga practice is we find these connections between the front body and the back body, the upper body and the lower body. In this case, the belly is directly, there's a hotline from the belly to the lower back, and vice versa. So if we release the belly here, then it will help release the lower back. So ultimately, we're going for the lower back here. Okay, so if your head is down here, then we look up and we switch the hands, and then we release back down. Elbows out. You can rock the hips from side to side. Keep those heels out though. Breathing through the belly. The more you can release through the belly, the more you're going to feel space in those lumbar vertebrae. Those lumbar vertebrae are very thick lumbar vertebrae at the bottom, at the last vertebrae before our sacrum and tailbone. They don't move a lot. They're very thick, they're very stubborn. So this is a very passive way to get into that space. So we take our time. Okay. to go into the next one, we come up into a Sphinx variation, the yin variation here. So instead of being very strong and lifting up, I'm going to drop my head and shake the head from side to side, and I can bring the hands together like this. Heels are still going out. Very important here. Heels are going out. If at any point this becomes too much, you go back to Mukrasana. This is our posture here. We just take our head from side to side. So I'm supported in the elbows, not in the hands, through the elbows, which are under the shoulders, and then again, I'm breathing through the belly. Okay. Last option is we go up towards the seal. Now, if this is enough excitement, stay here. We don't want to hurt ourselves, so we listen to the body. The seal can be quite intense. So if you want to watch, I take the hands with the fingers up, bend the elbows, I spin the elbows back, and I press down into the palms. Head goes from side to side, heels are out. I don't want to be crunched up like this. So I can roll the shoulders back and push away. And then we can drop the head if you want. So your option is seal, or down here on the elbows, or here in Mukrasana. So we're all going to look different, so make sure you're doing the posture that works for you. So if this doesn't work for you, don't do it. Simple as that. In yoga, my motto is enough is enough. If it's enough or too much is too much, it's too much. Okay? So if seal is too much, it's too much. Then you come back. And we don't skip a step, so if you're up in seal, you always want to make sure you first come here. Alright? So about another 3 to 5 breaths. If you want to go a little deeper, you bend the elbows, walk the hands back, and maybe press up. Once again, heels going out to the side, not collapsing in. Taking the head from side to side, last couple breaths. Okay, so seals. We're going to go back onto the elbows. If you're on the elbows, stay there. Drop the head and shake the head from side to side. Then we're all going to go into our Mukrasana. We take the left hand down, we're going to spin the elbows forward and then release down. Rock the hips from side to side and release in the belly. Okay, how we come out of this is again very important. So we exhale fully, we press the hands down, forehead down, tuck the toes under, push up on the hands and knees, and then take the hips back to the heels, and the forehead comes down. So if you have a bolster or a pillow, you can rest the forehead there. If you don't, you can have the hands stacked like this, or some of you are down here like this. And then we slowly scoop ourselves forward and stretch the leg back one at a time. All right. Good. Then, suggestion here is, so hopefully all of you have some sort of towel or maybe a pillow. We want to fold that up. We're going into sleeping swan. All right, this one's a little tricky, so pay attention and don't rush it. You never want to rush yoga, especially with the yin. Now sometimes we do get moving kind of quickly in other classes, but for yin we want to take our time going into this. All right, so let's come up on the hands and knees. Then I'm going to step my right foot through, and if you want to watch, I heel toe that foot over to the side, and I come down like this. This is where I want to take my block or towel and place it underneath that right hip. Okay? Then we kind of roll into that hip a little bit. And then inhaling, coming up, square the hips. And tuck the toes under that back foot, so the back foot tucks under, lift the knee, and take it back. I'm going to come down onto the elbows. Now this might be enough, or you may want to stay up here. So this might be perfectly fine. Then, for those of you who want to go into the full sleeping swan, if this is okay for you, you extend the arms out and you take the head to the side. Now guess what? This is going to go into this hip. So, how do we access that hip? There's a checklist of 3 points that we can look at in our yin practice. So we've already kind of looked at it, so now in sleeping swan, we're really going to go there. So the first one is lower jaw. So one of the first places, or the first place we take a lot of tension is clenching the teeth. Now if you're upset or frustrated, you clench the teeth. If you're in a challenging yoga pose, we clench your teeth. So you release that lower jaw and you can take the head from side to side. Secondly, in the shoulders. So now some of you may be here, so just kind of, you can pump the shoulders a little bit and just take the head from side to side. If you're here, you want to take the elbows out. Alright, then the final place is into the belly. So we go from the lower jaw to the shoulders to the belly, and we release that belly. Now guess what? If we go jaw, shoulders, belly, this releases. But not in the opposite order. So if we try to go here first, not a lot happens. Usually we're holding some tension here, we're holding some tension here, and we're holding our breath in the belly. So if you can release those 3 points, then we start to really feel that hip here. So breathing through that. If you're down here, you take the head to the other side. Alright, about another minute or so on this side, which means if you're getting stuck up here, then we go back to the breath. And we can say, now I'm exhaling, and exhale. Now I'm inhaling, and you inhale. And you can repeat that, and it just helps you come back to the posture, brings back to the breath in the belly, and you can settle in for a little bit more. Alright, to come out of this, we come out very slowly. We look down, and we start to press down. Then I'm going to look over to that side and help the leg around. Okay? Help the leg around. And we come up into Siddhasana. And let's take the hands to the knees. And slowly release on the exhale. The inhale, come up. Taking care of the back. Pressing down. And the inhale, we come up. And then we go over to the other side. Exhaling down and around. And inhaling up. Okay. Let's take the hands to the knees, lean back, and extend the legs, and shake out the feet. Okay, then we're going to take the legs back behind us again, slowly coming back. Come up on the hands and knees. If you want to shake out the hips a little bit, a little funky cat-cow, go ahead. We're going to step that left foot through this time. We're going to heel toe the foot over. Then it goes towards that back thigh. Knee comes down, and then maybe I have my block, or pillow, or blanket, or towel, or whatever. That goes under this hip right here, okay? Some of you can have the hip all the way to the floor, all right? Not everybody does. It's challenging posture. Perfectly fine to have support here. Then we kind of roll into that a little bit, and then inhaling, coming up, and exhaling back. Tuck the toes under the back leg, lift the knee, and take that knee back up just a little bit. Okay, from here, some of you might be able to take the bolster away or block away. You can stay here, You can be on the elbows, or you can be down here. All right. Same 3 points though on this side. Lower jaw. So let's take the lower jaw, relax the lower jaw. Move it from side to side if you need to. Take the head from side to side. Then shoulders. So again, if you're here, you can sort of pump the shoulders a little bit. If you're down here, you spin the shoulders out, and the elbows out, and that's going to release the shoulders. And then finally we go to the belly. So we release that belly breath. Release, release, release. Then guess what? You've probably already noticed this. This side is different. This might be your less challenging side, or it might be your more challenging side. If it's your more challenging side, then once again we say, this just is my side that needs a little more attention. Because if we keep saying, ooh, this is my bad side, ooh, I don't like this side. We call that dvesha. Dvesha is like when we don't like something. And what do? We begin to avoid that more and more. And we go to the side that we like more and more. And we become more and more out of balance. So sometimes we need to release that dvesha, that repulsion of this side, that aversion to this side through the breath. So let's release through the breath. If you need to just, that really helps sometimes. Nobody's listening, just let it go. Release through the mouth. Okay. Sleeping Swan is one of those postures that people may love, or it may be absolute torture. If you love it, don't fall asleep. Stay aware. If this is torture, and you don't like this, or it's very, just know it will pass. These things will pass. All right. If you're down here, the head's to one side, take the head to the other side, and release it through the belly. So again, the more you can release through the belly, the more it goes into that hip. If we start with the hip, and we start to hold our tension here, shoulders and belly. But if we reverse the process, release the jaw, release the shoulders, and release the belly, then we get to that hip. All right? About another 3 to 5 breaths here. If you're holding the breath, let it out. Don't hold the breath. Okay, to come out, we walk ourselves back onto the hands. We look over to the right side, lean into that hip. Now hold on to that leg. Don't just swing it around. We lean into it, help the leg around. We come back into Siddhasana. Let's take the hands onto the knees, and then exhaling over to the right, and pressing down, and inhaling up. This is going to help release the spine and the lower back, and the shoulders and the breath. Okay. Then we go up, and we take it back to the other side, and pressing down to lift up, and exhaling down. Okay. Let's come back to center. Hold on to the knees and extend the legs. Then we take the feet out wide. Feet are down. Knees are up. Feet are as wide as the mat. And then I'm going to, if I have a bolster, so I'm going to show you if you have a bolster, you take the bolster behind you like this, okay? If you don't have a bolster, again, you can do this without. So I'm going to take my feet here, then I'm going to lift my hips up over to the right. Lift the toes, and then I swivel the knees down. Alright, so the knees just go over, the feet stay in the same shape, and then I start to walk myself back. And again, if I have the bolster, I'm going to lie on the bolster like this. facing my knees. Now, if you don't have a bolster or a cushion, you can be, I'm going to just turn around so you can see what you're going to look like there. You can just be on the elbows like this. Some of you might be able to come down here. And again, my head is facing the knees at this point. This stretches this area right here. This is a very challenging place. As some of you know, I like to call this no man's land here. We want to get into that. So it's stretching this hip space between the iliac crest, which is the roundness of the hip, and the lowest rib. So let's just releasing there. Now for a little extra, I can take the head over and look to the other side, but that might be too much for the neck. If it is, stay looking towards the knees, okay? Otherwise, we come over like this. That really takes it into that space right here. Once again, we check in with the lower jaw, shoulders, and belly. That's our 3-point checklist. After that, we'll be able to release into those hips and lower lumbar, which is where we're going. If the head is over looking back, we take it and look towards the knees again and release down. Okay, so about another 3 to 5 breaths here on this side. Try to keep these long, even breaths. Breathing through the belly. Relaxing, exhaling through the mouth if you want. Perfectly fine. Then it just gives a little more exaggeration, a little more emphasis. Alright. So stay where you are. I'm just going to show you from the front. So staying where you are. You're going to slowly press yourself up and unwind and look towards the front. Feet are like this. I'm just going to take the knees up. Lift up through the hips over to the left this time. Feet are up. And I just swivel the knees over, okay? So I'm just, feet stay where they are. And I just swivel the knees over. And then I can go to the other side. Same thing. I start to walk myself around. It's going to twist into here and into this space right here. And then exhaling, coming down and look towards the knees. First, I look towards the knees. All right. So breathing through, release the lower jaw, release the shoulders, and release into the belly. And that's going to help you release the hips. From the front, stay where you are. I'm just going to show you from the front what we're going to be looking like. So I'm still looking over towards the knees. Relax lower jaw, shoulders, belly. That helps release the hips. Okay, for some of you, we can take the head up. We look back. And exhaling down. Now again, that might be too much. Then you can take it back this way. Remember, too much is too much, and enough is enough. And we take the head over to the knees, wherever you are. You can also be up like this. You can be up like this. But we're looking over towards the knees. About another 3 to 5 breaths here, wherever you are. Releasing down into the belly. Okay, so wherever you are, you start to walk yourself up, and then you swivel around. Feet come up, and you're like this again. Then we take the knees from side to side, and we release the hips and the lower back. And to the shoulders, down into the hips. Alright, and then we're going to come back to the front. We're just going to feel the space that we created here. So let's take the hands off the knees. Doesn't matter, we're going to switch, so it doesn't matter. And then slowly, slow motion, even slower than we did at the beginning. We're going to roll the belly back, and the knees begin to come up. And inhaling forward and up. Slow motion, exhaling back. And then we're going to come forward. Take the hands, lift the shoulders back. If you want, you can lift a little bit. Be careful there. And then let's push ourselves forward and feel the stretch like this again. Exhaling, chin comes down, and we slide the hands around. Maybe you're here, or maybe you're here, or you're here. But again, we're just going to feel that hip stretch. This is where we began, so we're going to go full circle, come back to the hips. And then slowly walk ourselves out. So this was just a release. We're not staying here that long. Switch the legs, hands to the knees. Exhaling back, belly comes in, knees come up. Inhaling forward and up. And exhaling back. Inhaling forward and up. Hands out. Inhale and lift. And exhaling and come forward. And then swing the arms around. Maybe here. Maybe here. Or this is perfectly fine. Once again, we're just grounding through the hips, feeling the hips here one last time. Alright, we'll slowly walk ourselves back. We're going to take the hands off the knees one last time, and then shake out the feet. Okay, if you have a bolster or pillow, once again, then this is a suggestion here. I'm going to show you from the side. And you can take the bottoms of the feet together like this, and the knees are supported here. Now, if you don't have the bolster, maybe you do have some blocks or a stack of books or something, and you can place under the thighs like this. If you don't want to do this with the legs open, the second option is to have the legs out like this. But you can still have the bolster under the knees, okay? Then I'm going to lift the hips. So if you want to watch, I lift the hips and I tilt the hips under towards the heels. And then I come back onto the elbows. So the legs can be like this. It's called Supta Baddha Konasana. Supta means we're on our back. Baddha Konasana is the shape of my legs. Or I can have the legs out like this, with or without the bolster. And then I slowly lower down onto the back body. Hands can be out like this in Shavasana. They can be on the belly. Or some of you may like to have the hand, one hand on the belly and the other feeling the heartbeat. We relax the lower jaw. And you can take the head from side to side. Relaxing the lower jaw so there's space between the teeth. And you can touch the tongue right there at the back of the upper teeth. Closing the eyes without squeezing them. And just settling into the back body. One option is you can lift the hips slightly towards the feet and release back down.
into the guidance I give for a moment. We feel the heels being very heavy on the floor. So maybe the feet are touching, or maybe the heels are supported just by the floor of the mat. And then from that connection, we feel grounded in the heels, and we bring our attention up into the lower legs. And so that the lower legs, whether supported by the bolster or a pillow or the floor, we really relax those legs into that support. And then from the knees down into the heels and out into the toes, we have the support of the lower leg. And then we bring our attention up to the upper legs, into the back of the legs and the top of the legs. And with each breath, we notice the support from below allows us to release a little bit more from above. So that from the hips, down into the knees, into the heels, and out through the toes, the fullness of the legs are supported and relaxed. And then we bring our attention to the belly, whether the fingers are touching the belly or out to the side. With each exhale, we feel the release into the back body, and the belly sinks down towards the floor. And very lightly with the inhale, we bring new prana, new oxygen into the body. And with each exhale, we release a little bit more. And then we bring that awareness up into the inhale as it rises through the chest, and exhaling through the fingers and shoulders relax down, down, down. So that from the shoulders down into the hips, all the way to the heels and out to the toes, the fullness of the back body is now supported. And you find peace in the posture. As the back of the head is supported, we lower the lower jaw and relax through the mouth. And just let the breath flow through the body, the inhale and the exhale merging into one, so that we no longer notice the inhale and the exhale. And with that, let's all bring the left hand to the heart and the right hand to the belly. And then we feel that heartbeat underneath the left hand. We feel the breath underneath the right hand. And without changing the breath, just notice it. Notice the heartbeat. Notice the breath. The two elements that tell us, here we are, here I am, the breath and the heart. And then slowly taking the head from side to side, massage the back of the head. Begin to make some movement into the fingers, into the wrists, and the ankles, and then stretching over. If you have the bolster, you can extend the leg, hold the belly in, stretching, and exhale. Slowly walking yourself back. The feet come onto the floor. You can lift the hips and just sway the hips from side to side very gently. And then rolling to one side or the other, just coming onto the side body. Pause. Just feel the side body, feeling the relax of the hips, the head onto the upper arm. And then when you're ready, begin to press yourself up to a seated position of your choice as we come back. You can keep your eyes closed.
And then we find our nice tall seat. We bring the chin down into the chest. And as we did earlier, we're just going to exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the mouth. Mouth exhale. Mouth inhale. Nose exhale. Nose inhale. And mouth exhale. Let's bring the hands together. We're going to press the thumbs in the space between the eyebrows and just begin to massage that out. And then spread the thumbs over the top of the eyes, maybe rub down the sides, underneath the eyes, back into the forehead. And then rubbing the palms together. Press the palms into the eyes, drape the fingers over the head, and just allow the head to relax into the hands. Feeling the warmth of the palms, the support of the hands, and release through the mouth. Inhale, mouth, and exhale. On the next inhale, we bring the hands together, open the eyes, and we return. And thank you for being here. Be safe.